You are listening to the only show where a former police officer, alongside a current law school student, tackle politics, the legal system, and corruption. The show, known around the world as Qualified Immunity.
Mr. Cohen, how are you?
I'm good.
That's unusual.
How are you? What? I mean, I'm not being good. I'm just, I feel okay.
We're going to talk about something that's totally out of your element.
It is, actually.
Sports.
Yeah.
It's a thing that exists that makes a hell of a lot of money.
Yeah. I was not gifted in that specific arena.
You don't have to be gifted in it to watch it. I don't think there's a person though. Like 99% of the world that watches porn, I'm pretty sure could not act in it.
Probably true. I don't know. I
don't understand how you're 6'2" and weren't gifted in some sort of dunking.
I mean, you got to be able to dribble.
You can't dribble.
Have you seen how big my feet are?
You dribble in front of them.
Yeah.
God.
I guess I never.
You're one of
out.
those.
I can't dribble.
Seriously?
I don't know what to tell you.
You want to go play a pickup game with me?
If we do that, I'm going to play like Shaq, and I'm just going to
throw the ball in my head. Oh, thanks.
No, that's Charles Barkley. That's
I was like, who threw the ball at who?
Barkley threw the ball at Shaq because
that's right.
Shaq was basically just
mauling him.
Yeah. And if we play, I'm just going to push you down. Like that's. It's not basketball. It's buffalo ball.
I'm gonna be like, whoop whoop whoop, Kobe. Rest in peace.
Now I am good at rebounding and stuffing it back in people's face when they shoot it. That's what I do.
You're that guy though that like when I walk up to you, I know the second I jerk, you're gonna jump, and I'm just like it's one of those.
Okay.
Who's the guy on the other team that's gonna ball fake? Oh, there he comes on top of me, foul. Unless you're playing street ball. But if you're playing street ball, it doesn't matter. We're going to talk about the protests in the NBA, Major League Baseball, hockey. NFL hasn't happened yet.
If you could call them protests.
I think it's a protest, and this is why I say it's a protest.
Okay. Sorry, did I make you mad? I didn't want to make you mad.
No, but there's a lot of people that look up and they're like, it's for publicity, not a protest. And this is why I say you don't understand how Major League Sports works.
Fair. That's fair.
If you say it's just for publicity, because they get paid per game.
Right.
They get game checks.
Yeah.
So if you're giving up, and some of these people are giving up hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
For a game.
Well, if they miss a game.
Yes.
If they miss a game.
Well, if they do not, there's contract stipulations in all of them.
Right.
But I've seen one that says they have to complete like 70% of a game.
Right.
Unless it's due to injury.
Right. Have they all actually? I thought there were some that said, "Oh, we're going to boycott it," and then they actually, like at the last minute, didn't.
No, I haven't seen one yet.
Okay, I was misinformed.
What happened in the NBA was, and I don't remember the two teams. I remember hearing about it because I know the Thunder came on. The Thunder Houston game was supposed to be right after that.
Okay.
And two teams boycotted and didn't. It was Milwaukee Bucks and somebody else. They boycotted, and then the NBA came out and said, "Well, every game's postponed."
Right.
To cover your ass.
Maybe that's what I heard.
Yeah, like it was one of those. The first game got boycotted, and they didn't take the floor. I want to say it was Milwaukee. because I know it was Milwaukee. It was the Milwaukee Bucks in the first round because the shooting happened in Wisconsin. The reason they were protesting was in Wisconsin. And Milwaukee was like, I don't remember who the other team was.
Was it the Orlando Magic?
Yes, it was Milwaukee and Orlando. And they protested and like, we're not taking the floor, yada yada. Like, didn't take the floor, didn't tell anybody, just didn't show up.
Right.
Man, was my crutch word today. But they didn't take the floor, they didn't show up, nothing. Then that turned into the NBA came out real quick and was like, well, the rest of the games tonight are postponed.
Right. Yeah.
Because they didn't want to give anybody the opportunity to protest. And in my opinion, if you're going to jeopardize, I don't know what minimum salary in the NBA is. Minimum salary in the NFL is like $490,000 a year.
Right.
So if you're the backup punter
yeah,
for the Dallas Cowboys, you make $500,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
Which I get it when the quarterback's making that per game.
Yeah.
Like I get it. But the other side of that is too, what did these players, how much did they give up in a paycheck to make a statement? Granted, you know me, you know how much of an avid baseball fan I am.
Yeah.
And did I text you the Mets walking off? The Mets and the Marlins?
I don't think so.
Because I was like, that was powerful.
Okay.
Because they walked out. They had a moment of silence for 42 seconds.
Yeah.
Based off of Jackie Robinson's number.
Right.
And walked off the field. Like it was after the national anthem. It was after everything else happened.
Right.
The opening hitter was announced.
Mm-hmm.
Hitter took the box. Opening batter took the box.
Right.
And stood there. All the teams come out of the dugout. Like it's a powerful video.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those. They just stood there for 42 seconds, and it was one of those. What are they doing? And then at 42 seconds, everybody started walking off the field, and at that moment, it was like, oh,
yeah.
And one of the outfielders walked up to home plate and put a Black Lives Matter T-shirt on home plate, and I have taken a lot of hell, and I mean a lot of hell.
Yeah.
From people I know, from people that know me, for people that from the social media world, I've taken a lot of hell for supporting these things.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've
seen some of it, and it's,
oh my god.
You,
oh my god, what are you doing? What do you mean you're supporting this? They're fascist, they're communist, they're better.
You've lost a lot of friends over this, dude.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
And because
I didn't have any friends to begin with, so.
But I legitimately lost over 1,100 Facebook friends.
Yeah.
And people are just, I'm like, you are so focused on what the media is going to tell you this is.
Yeah.
Versus you haven't been there.
Right.
You have, and I've called people out on this. When was the last time you were down on the streets at one of these protests or rallies or whatever you deem to call them? Yeah. Not riots.
Right.
Because I have never been a part of a riot.
Right.
But when was the last time you were there on the street with these people talking to them? Well, I haven't been. Then shut the fuck up. Mm-hmm. I know what their leadership says. Okay, I know what Donald Trump says too, and he sounds like a raging fucking moron.
I assume most of these people are Republicans.
Yes.
Do they know what the RNC says? Because the RNC is a joke. If you're actually
if you look at what the president of the United States, that's supposed to be your all-in, be-all, and puts on Twitter.
Most of these people are Trump supporters.
Yes, they're 100% Trump supporters.
And if you quote Donald Trump to them, they would be like, "Oh, that's Joe Biden."
Yeah, that's true. The president would never say that. Yes, he did. Well, I don't care about what he says. I care about his policy.
His policy is garbage too.
I agree with you, but this is why we're libertarians.
Let's take the guns now and then due process later.
Yeah, let's take the guns now, due process later. And there is an argument that MSNBC and CNN makes, and I think it's a valid argument of how many days does this man do a press conference from a golf course?
Yeah.
Seriously, I'm not kidding. I heard the Tea Party people bitching and whining and crying about this 6-7 years ago.
Yeah.
And right now they're like, well, he deserves a break. Look at all the good he's done. He started a trade war. well, yeah, because currency devaluation was an issue. I understand that's an issue. I also understand that you don't start a trade war when, one, history has proven trade wars never work. And two, the person that literally supplies Walmart with 90% of their stuff.
If currency devaluation was the issue, then what's he doing now? Like,
I don't know what he's doing now. He's trying to win re-election.
Yeah.
Against a guy who, like,
you
should literally mop the floor with.
You want to see currency devaluation? Just wait about a year.
Oh, yeah.
Because the coronavirus stimulus, it's a joke.
Wait till round two.
They have printed. What was it? 3 months this year outpaced last year.
Yes.
No. Was it?
It was 17 and a half weeks.
17 and a half weeks. So
four and some change.
Yeah.
I don't remember what. I think I read that in Forbes. So it wasn't like it was some Drudge Report page 6 article. I think I read that in Forbes.
Yeah.
It was Forbes or Wall Street Journal that it was 17 and a half weeks. Like, we have a currency issue.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, if you ask Zero Hedge, we done.
Yeah, I have spurts where I read a lot of Zero Hedge, which
The problem with Zero Hedge is Zero Hedge takes into only quantitative numbers, only quantitative facts, not the emotional side of human nature.
Right.
Like, Zero Hedge has been like, we're down like 19 times.
Yeah.
Like 2001 they said it, 2008 they said it, 2013 they said it, 2008 I'll tell you the biggest bubble in the world, and nobody wants to believe me. The auto industry.
Okay.
Hands down. Because when you have people financing 200%, or 100, like, it's not unusual to get 140% of actual value on a new car.
Well, I don't know if that's necessarily the auto industry or if that's just the debt industry.
It's consumer buying industry, but if you think the 2008 housing crisis was a bubble, you have no idea what's coming when it comes to the auto industry. Like, sorry, not sorry. You have no idea what's about to happen. Because there was some statistic that came out, I think it was close to 18 months ago, that said somewhere between 20 and 40% of people are behind or in verge of repossession on their autos. Which would totally just it'd be cool for me because there'd be plenty of cars to sell. But it's just one of those. There's a bubble out there people don't realize. Just like there's a bubble.
Well, I think we've got another housing bubble. It's not like it's going to be like it was in 2008.
I'm trying to build a house right now. I really wish like I had the price of 2008. Sorry.
I mean, there's in law school. I've studied real estate and transactions and property law. The way housing is financed right now is
it's a joke.
It's a nightmare.
It's a joke. 2 to 4% down on a $2 million house.
Yeah.
Balloon APRs.
And actually, when the coronavirus stuff started, I was actually really worried because if you screw this up by like a month or two, which would not be difficult.
Oh yeah, the whole thing comes down.
Yeah,
it's a house of cards.
It's gone.
Like, the actual way lending and home ownership is financed in the United States is a 100% house of cards.
And we're not just talking about like houses. We're talking about your bank, the Fed, which
everything.
Yeah.
If you do not know what fractional reserve bank is,
you collapse a large section of the market like that, everything's going with it.
Yeah. And that's what I said about autos too. Like, I've said that about autos too. Not everybody owns a home. Not everybody owns real estate.
Yeah.
Everybody drives a car. I mean, not legitimately everybody. That's an exaggeration of an actual quantifiable amount. But the majority of Americans still drive.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
and own vehicles.
The majority of people that I know own at least one, if not 2 or 3.
Or 6.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying they're nice, but
I mean, technically speaking, I think I own 3.
Legal. We're talking about legally. How many could you go tag right now? That's what matters.
2.
Yeah.
And none of them are financed. So,
Hey, me either.
Yeah.
You see a common theme here. Like I hear people at work, well, just go buy a new one. It'll be like, how much can you put down? And finally, they quit. They almost quit asking me. They're like, "What are you looking for?" I'm like, "I'm looking for a truck." Well, buy a Ridgeline. One, I would
Yeah.
wreck a Ridgeline.
Yeah.
Like you know where I'm moving.
Yeah. Well, you and I both, when we hear Ridgeline, it's like, oh, okay.
Well, they're cool. Like if I lived in the city and
Yeah,
just wanted a truck,
If you lived in the city.
or a suburb, or I had 5 acres and a hobby pond and whatever.
In my mind, there's no reason for me to own a Ridgeline.
They're fun. They're fun. Like
There are lots of other things that are more fun, in my opinion.
like
It's a status symbol.
It's a dad bod thing.
Okay.
Like it's one of those.
Okay.
You don't want to drive the Odyssey,
Yeah.
so you drive the Ridgeline because you're still a man and you drive a truck, but you have a trunk in your truck, and you have built-in speakers in your truck bed.
Yeah.
So you can play, Bubble Guppies for your daughter's birthday party. Can you tell I'm a parent? But I really did. People, I have lost, and I think I've come close to losing an actual friend of ours over the Black Lives Matter thing.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, validate what I'm, or don't, invalidate what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And you can't invalidate what I'm saying. You just don't like what I'm saying.
Well, and
because everybody can work hard if they go. Like, okay, boomer. The idea that race does not hold you back in this country is a total fallacy.
Yeah.
Honestly, and I'm going to get ripped apart by Republicans for saying that. Well, look at Herman Cain and look at Alan West and look at this and look at. I get it, but
just because there are black people that have done well doesn't
mean that there's not a race issue. That doesn't. And I said this I was on somebody else's show yesterday, and I said this because, and I agreed with this. And they're voting for Trump. I'm voting for Jorgensen. Like it was made evidently clear.
Yeah.
They're voting for President Trump. I'm voting for Dr. Jorgensen. A lot of that reason has to do with the trade war. A lot of it, honest to God, a lot of the reason I will not vote for Donald Trump has to do with this trade war. Okay. Because economically, if you're such a great businessman, pull your head out of your ass because that was the dumbest shit you could have ever done. That's just my unbiased, unfiltered opinion. Because what you actually did was increase cost on the American consumer.
Right.
And most of the American consumer that buys products made in China are not the wealthy.
Right.
It is the working class American that you actually hurt by starting a trade war.
Yeah.
It's the farmers that you hurt by starting a trade war. It's the people you supposedly are a man of that you actually harmed the most by starting a trade war because you don't understand basic economic philosophy.
I will say this, and it's kind of sad that this is the best thing I could say in defense of Donald Trump's trade war.
This should be good.
It depends on what his goal was.
His goal was to prove a point.
His goal was to stick it to China.
His goal, it was who's Pecker's bigger contest, and
which I think he has hurt China at the expense of Americans.
Yeah, I was like, he's hurt China, but at what expense? I understand.
Yeah.
And
I think he's accomplished his goal. I just think he didn't consider the collateral damage.
But and you know me, I've always said this: war is messy.
Yeah, yeah.
War is messy.
It is, and
but the problem with most Karens right now, the problem with most people right now is the problem with most conservatives right now is they want a clean war.
Yeah. Well, in everything. Yeah.
They don't want any collateral damage. They want it.
Most of them would probably deny that this trade war actually has hurt Americans.
Oh, they totally will.
Yeah.
Oh, 100% will. And I will go on any long form discussion in the country and argue that.
Yeah.
Because I've seen, hi, guess what I am? I'm a poor American.
Yeah. By the numbers, there's no debate on that issue.
Like I've literally seen the cost increase at Walmart.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking on food or groceries or something else. I'm talking on like towels.
Yeah.
Or silverware. Or I don't think ramen noodles went up that much, but not more than that much to begin with.
Do we make those here?
I actually don't know where those are made at. They're probably made in America, is the irony.
Some guy's basement.
You ever seen the meme that says, it shows a semi truck that's wrecked out. It's a bunch of ramen noodles instead of a whole truck of ramen noodles is wrecked out, lost to the company, $1.32.
Yeah, I saw that.
But you cannot back up the idea that just because we needed to get at China, we deserved sacrificing American buying power for it.
Right.
And I would be interested to see, and I'm the closest to Milton Friedman according to every single political freaking test I take.
Yeah.
That it's like free market, free market, free market, free market, free market. Trade wars do not help free markets.
No.
They inhibit them. And there's one thing that I have always, always, always questioned the founding fathers on, and that was giving the authority of somebody to sign treaties and impose tariffs.
Yeah. Well, usually, okay, so you're going to think I'm crazy.
I already do think you're crazy.
I will actually defend tariffs to a degree because free trade, I don't think is necessarily a good thing with the economic system that America has right now. I mean, we're so overregulated and.
Okay, I can see that. I can concede that point.
Right. But if we actually.
That's just like my whole, and we're not going into this, but it's my whole argument under making abortion illegal under the current system.
Okay.
The system is the problem, not what you're trying to do.
Right. Right. But in a true free market system, I don't think you actually need tariffs. At least not for
true
America.
Free market.
Yeah.
But that also goes back to capitalism without morality leads to despotism.
Right.
And I don't think you can define morality. I think morality has to be a localized issue. Okay. Because if you're really, really... Shut up.
You're starting to sound a lot like me.
Well, and this is morality has to be a localized issue. Yeah. However, with that being said, discrimination disguised as morality is ridiculous.
Okay. Yeah, I'd agree with that. I do agree because strip clubs are normal and acceptable in Las Vegas.
Yes.
They're not acceptable in a lot of Oklahoma.
They're not really normal. Okay, they're acceptable in Las Vegas. They're not really normal. You can go to the most tourist parts of Las Vegas and never see a strip club.
Yeah, but the people in Vegas don't have a problem with them.
Oh, God, no.
People in Oklahoma do.
People in 90% of the country don't have a problem with strip clubs.
People in about 85% of Oklahoma probably do.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
And 80% of that 85% will go to it on a Saturday night.
I don't know if it's that high.
Oh, my God. I don't think it's that high.
I don't think it's that
high. Because 85% of Oklahoma is Baptist.
Okay, that's fair.
But like at the same time, this is where people get at me, where it's I do not think morality, local morality, disguised as discrimination, should be allowable.
Agreed.
LGBTQ.
Okay.
I do not think that local morality, if the local people believe that homosexuality is immoral, fine. Believe it. Do not discriminate against it. That is the difference. Do I think morality should be local? Yes, because we do not have the same morality as a culture, as a community here that Las Vegas does. We do not have the same morality that Los Angeles does, or San Diego does, or Coronado does, or like the difference in morality between like Huntington Beach, Long Beach, Santa Monica, and LA could be drastic.
Right.
Granted, I just covered 17 million people. But it all goes back to what's acceptable in Des Moines, Iowa is not going to be totally acceptable in Oklahoma. It's not going to be acceptable in Las Vegas. Morality has to be local.
Mm-hmm.
But morality, or discrimination rather, cannot be covered up by the excuse or the scapegoat of morality. Now, this goes back to DOMA and LGBTQ rights, etc., of going, you and I have I believe the consensus that government should not be in marriage.
Mm-hmm.
That should be a totally separate issue, and the entire reason government is in the business of marriage is due to money and taxes. However, I do not think you should be allowed to discriminate against somebody based off of sex, race, or sexual preference. Does that make sense?
Yes. Sorry, I got sidetracked.
I was like, what rabbit hole did you just go down between your ears?
Division of property in marriage. Don't worry about it.
Wow.
It's a long rabbit hole.
Yeah. Welcome to Law School 101.
I mean, that's one of the reasons that the state is involved in marriage, because divorce, division.
Yeah, division of property. And I get it.
That's actually how the whole LGBTQ rights started. It was property in marriage.
Yeah.
Who gets what?
And I understand that.
Right.
I wholeheartedly do. That's why I've said, if the government is going to continue to act in that fashion, you cannot discriminate against two human beings who want to legally be married.
Yeah.
And that is the difference of going legally versus a church that will do it.
Mm-hmm.
Legally versus spiritually.
Yeah.
Or religiously, because spiritual is a whole other discussion and topic. But you cannot hide discrimination in the cloak of morality and have it be acceptable in my book. Mm. And I think a lot of what the right is doing right now, Black Lives Matter, is hiding discrimination under a cloak of morality and or ignorance, and just expecting it to be acceptable. Yeah.
Well, I find it interesting a lot of times that Christians, evangelicals, however you want to classify that, I find it interesting that so often they want government to be involved in marriage, basically telling LGBTQ people, hey, you can't get married.
And there's a whole argument and debate that I will piss a lot of people off on one day when we do the transgender episode.
Yeah.
There's an entire debate about that.
Well,
and at the same token, in that same episode, I'm going to piss a lot of people off because I'll say it now and I will evolve into it. I do not believe that being a homosexual is a choice. I think you were born that way, and I will hold that theory until the day I die.
Well,
that belief.
My point is, and I say this as a Christian, I mean, I'm religious, spiritual, whatever you want to call that.
I think you're religious.
To have the government tell people, hey, you can't get married,
violates the First Amendment.
Why do you even want the
government violates the First Amendment?
Forget that. If you're a Christian, why do you want the government involved in marriage at all?
That's true. Actually, that's very true.
Because very true. The only reason that you would think that they should be is if somebody's getting divorced.
Yeah, that's very true.
Which, if you're divorcing somebody in Christianity,
there's only one real reason.
Yeah, there's only one reason you can do that.
Well, depends.
If you're going by the words of Jesus Christ,
okay.
There's only one reason.
I could make that do about 6 real quick.
Was that you or the computer?
That was the computer.
Oh, okay.
Like that was a.
I thought you had an idea or something.
I mean, I did. Like,
okay.
But that's a whole nother biblical discussion and debate we will have off the air before we lose viewers or listeners. But I think a lot of the right now wants to look up and be like, they have never experienced it, and there is such a thing as white privilege. There is.
Yeah.
Whether you want to believe it or not.
Yeah.
There is. And the problem is, people do not want to admit it. And the first step to recovery is admitting you've got a problem.
Yeah.
Seriously. And the first step to recovery is admitting you have a problem.
Which we do.
And I will tell you this. The right needs to admit they have a problem with politicizing Jesus.
Yeah. Yes.
Because I am so sick and tired of seeing Jesus Christ politicized.
Mm-hmm.
I could vomit.
Yeah.
Well, Jesus would have voted for Trump. No, he wouldn't have. He wouldn't have voted for Biden either. But I am so sick and tired of seeing faith and religion bastardized to be a political pawn in a game of fuck where both sides are attempting to do the same thing. Show me a side that will shrink the size of government. Point over your shoulder. Show me a party.
Yeah.
Show me either one of them. I sent that meme to you the other day.
Yeah.
It said Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, and it's like, show me a party that will shrink the size of government. Show me a party that will let locality determine morality and ensure that discrimination is not cloaked in the idea of morality.
The Libertarians are the closest one.
Because you talk about these players who walked off the field and gave up game checks.
Yeah.
Which honestly, most of their game checks is more than most of America will make in a year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Seriously. Especially if they're a B-level superstar or an A-level superstar, I guarantee you that game check they just gave up was more than that. Giannis?
Yeah.
Is a superstar in the NBA. You have no idea what I'm talking about.
I don't. I have no idea.
Giannis is a superstar in the NBA. I guarantee he gave up more in a game check than most of America will make in a lifetime. Well, he already made this much. He already made this much.
How much was it?
I don't know. Okay. Google how much Giannis makes per playoff game. See how long it takes him to spell Giannis. And I actually am not going to say his last name because I'll butcher it. I bet it's $1 million a game.
I have a career number for you, but that's not per year.
Oh, true. A couple of years ago, a bunch of their contracts went super secret.
Let's see. 25 million?
Yeah.
Does that sound right?
That sounds like his yearly contract.
25.8 million.
Yeah.
Salary.
That's about what he makes in a year.
Yeah, that's.
Hypothetically, okay.
I think your average American citizen makes somewhere around $3 million in their lifetime.
So do that number divided by. Let's go with 90 because it would have been 90 games. Granted, this season's all screwed up.
You're making me do math.
Sorry, my phone's busy.
What was it? 25. 25. Divided by how much?
Do 90.
90. 286,000.
Yeah. So he probably would have been around because they're under a normal season, which granted this wasn't because of COVID. Yeah. Under a normal season, that's probably about what he makes per game. That's what he gave up to protest.
Roughly 300,000 then.
Yeah. That's what he gave up to protest. Plus, there's other bonuses in there, like playoff game bonuses.
Yeah.
There are contractual bonuses in there. So you get to this moment in time of going, that man just gave up $300,000 to prove a point. Well, he's got plenty of 90 men. Okay, and it just flashed across my screen. Trump's apparently withdrawing troops out of Iraq.
Withdrawing.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Guarantee I can tell you who was at the White House tonight.
Who's that?
The junior senator from the state of Kentucky.
You can say his name.
No, I can't because I keep getting excited. Like, he followed me back on Twitter, I'm going to pass out. If Rand Paul followed me back on Twitter, I would probably legitimately pass out.
You did follow him, right?
Oh, yeah.
You should tag him in a post and say no libertarian under this.
But he's not a libertarian.
True. That's true.
That's the, like, Rand
He is,
Paul,
but he's not.
I know, he is, but he's not. Rand Paul has the best ability to play that line that I've ever seen in my entire life. But I also think if Rand Paul was my neighbor, he'd be like, just leave me alone.
What? I mean, you'd be better than his previous
Yeah,
neighbors.
the previous neighbor that punctured his lung.
Yeah.
But how many times have we seen, especially the right, politicize Christianity, number one, politicize Jesus, number two, demonize anything that's not it, and cloak discrimination inside of morality? Is it just a problem to me, or is it a problem that like, am I imagining something, or is this actually happening?
No, I actually have some friends that, I mean, they call this out and they call it idolatry, which I think it is, and they tell people, hey, you shouldn't do that, don't do that, and then they usually end up getting unfriended.
I just can't believe the amount of friends that I've legitimately lost over, hey, you're right, they're right, Black lives do matter.
Yeah.
Like, brown lives matter too.
Sorry if that offends you.
Like, it blows, because everybody always comes back to well, their leadership put out this group of demands. Well, are you a Republican? Yeah, I'm a Republican, and I'm voting Donald Trump 2020. How many women are you going to go grab with a pussy? Sorry, not sorry. Apple Podcast, you can now officially mark this as explicit. I'm serious.
Was it not marked as explicit?
Oh, it's automatically marked now.
Oh, okay.
But I'm serious.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It is 100% the same thing. Your figurehead, your spokesperson said that.
Yeah.
Are you going to go do it? Well, no. Just because my leadership says it doesn't mean I'm going to go do it. No shit, Sherlock. Like, the ignorance is astounding to me.
Yeah.
Like, go eat glue in a corner and just stop talking.
You're welcome for that one.
Ha!
That's my line.
That is his line. It really is. Because I just... Well, you can't support them. They're fascists and they're communists. The Democrats are communists. The Republicans are socialists. And all you boomers are too scared to admit it.
It's all fascism.
It's all fascism.
It's all fascism to me.
One just wants to take more of your money, and the other wants to determine who you get to, have intimate relationships with. Now, granted, there is a line to this. I do believe there's a line to this.
A line.
A limit.
A limit. To
what you can and can't marry? Legally?
Oh, okay.
I don't think marrying... Like, I'm in love with my coffee table. It's just... There's some strange people out there.
Those would be some weird kids.
I'm not even going to get in the chromosomal... Never mind. That doesn't... That's not how this works. That's how any of this works. I think I found a new line tonight. Discrimination cloaked as morality is what? Heresy? They can almost be considered heresy. I could make the debate that it is. Because there's a phrase. I mean, it could almost be idolatry. But there's a phrase that I used to hear, I mean, from the time I was 10 years old, of Jesus wouldn't have been in the churches with the pastors and the people.
Yeah.
He would have been in the bars with the drunks and the hookers. And
doctors don't visit healthy people, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you this right here now, and people don't believe me when I say this. I've had way deeper, more philosophical, religious conversations in a bar than I've ever had in a church.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Seriously. Of people that actually knew scripture and actually knew, like, you would be amazed at the depth you could get in between you, somebody else, and a bottle of Jack, whatever.
You want to come to the church group that I attend that meets in a cafe?
Am I going to get thrown out?
Might not. I mean, I might not invite you back, but you're welcome to come. Actually, I'd invite you back. If you make other people mad, I'd invite you back.
That's not hard.
They actually do want people that'll debate. I mean, they get mad at the people that are there because they just sit there and listen instead of.
What's it about?
What do you mean? What it's about?
I mean, like, what? Is there a different topic? Like, is there a weekly topic, or what's it about?
Yeah, usually, but they deviate so far from that.
Oh, so it's like this podcast. Good to know. Good to know.
Yep.
That would be it. What day of the week is it on?
Usually Saturday evenings.
Oh. Good luck.
I've actually gone from that to here, so
yeah. The problem is, I work in car sales.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that.
Like Saturdays is our mecca.
Yeah.
Like, does it start before 8:30?
It does.
Yeah.
Usually it starts at 6.
Yeah. No, it ain't gonna happen. Because generally at 6 o'clock on a Saturday, I'm running around.
Yeah, I know.
Like that's one of those. You might get text back in 2 hours, not 20 seconds.
It's happened before.
Like, sorry, I'm busy. I'll answer this later.
You don't have to send me that. Like you don't even read them, and I'm just like, okay, Greg's busy, whatever.
That's totally what my wife says too. She's like, when I text you and you don't even read it, I know you're busy.
Well, when you're not busy, it's like I text you and immediately it says read. It doesn't even say delivered. It just says read.
Yeah, that's because I leave it open on my computer.
And then you respond.
But man, that really, I wish it wasn't on a Saturday because I'd love to go to a Bible study and just walk in and they're like,
it's a bunch of people that are like fed up with church.
Ooh, I would love that.
I know you would.
Ooh, I would love that.
I mean, I'm not fed up with
church.
Will
they change it to Monday?
Well, it used to be Sunday mornings, and
well, that's kind of churchish.
Well, it used to be in people's houses on Sunday mornings, and they would rotate. And
that's a little churchy for me. I'm not waking up that early on a Sunday.
Well, and I would only occasionally go because I actually like my church.
You can validate the statement. By the time we're done on a Saturday night, am I not just a walking zombie?
You're wasted. Yeah.
It makes you sound like I'm drunk.
I was thinking like dead, but
yeah, like I legitimately am a walking zombie by the time we're done on Saturdays.
Yeah, because you've been working your tail off at work, and then you come.
It's like it's an all-week thing, though.
Yeah.
And then by the time you get out of church and eat dinner on a Sunday, I might be out of bed.
Yeah, I mean, I've never. I don't think I've ever shown up on a Sunday when you were still in bed.
Not yet, but
not yet. It's probably coming.
Last Sunday was close.
Yeah, I did get that vibe last Sunday.
Like, I mean, I got up like I don't know. I went to bed at like 3:30 or 4.
Yeah,
because I fell asleep in the shower again.
You gotta stop doing that,
dude. It's a thing. Like I don't remember getting in the shower.
It's a tradition.
It almost is. Like I legitimately don't remember getting in the shower. Like I woke up with wet hair and I'm like, did I take a shower? And Steph looks over and goes, "Yep, you slept in it." I'm like, cool. But I like got up. I think it's like 10:30 or something. Like I had solid 7 hours.
Yeah.
And she goes, "Are you up?" And I remember being like, "Yeah." And then Kent, my daughter, was still asleep. And I went to lay down next to her. Next thing I know, it's like 1:45.
Oh, yeah, that was close.
Yeah.
Huh.
12:45. It was 12:45 because I went car shopping.
Oh yeah, okay, I remember now.
Like I got up and we had to go. Like everybody was hungry. Like Kennedy had gotten up, not like it didn't wake me up. One of those. You knew I was tired. She goes, "You went back," and you're like, "Yeah, I'm getting up." And all of a sudden, I heard you snoring again. And she goes, "It was less than like 20 seconds." And if you know me, I don't fall asleep that easy.
Yeah.
So by the time we're done on a Saturday, like my schedule runs Sunday when I wake up through Saturday when I fall asleep. Everything else in there is naps.
Yeah.
One day I will change that. Maybe. I won't.
Don't lie to me.
I might change it.
I know you better than that.
I'm getting old.
That much is true.
Like I can't do what I used to do.
You're gonna be one of those old guys that just like falls asleep in a chair like in the middle of working. That's happened, hasn't it?
Oh yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Like most nights after you leave, after we get done recording and you leave, it's not unusual for me to be sitting here and apparently I'm like,
yeah.
Like I literally fall asleep on this mic more than I don't.
To be honest, there is a reason that I play music super loud when I'm driving.
Because you get that moment, you're just like, and it's finally that time of year though, where it's like, I'm losing it. You can walk outside.
Yeah. I have done that before. Like in the middle of winter, roll down the window in your car because it's getting rough.
Yeah, it's like 12 degrees outside. And you're like, this feels amazing. But really, it turns into, what are we fighting for? Why do we push ourselves to these limits? Because there's a line that needs to be held.
Yeah. That
is not based off. Now I gotta find the right word. Of cloaking discrimination cloaked as morality is what? Because that's what we're doing as a country.
Yeah.
On both sides. It's not a right problem. I think a right has a tendency at the moment to be more guilty of it. But it's not a right problem. It's not a left problem. We are cloaking morality. We're cloaking discrimination under the guise of morality.
Yeah.
And there's only one reason I don't believe this is a 100% true statement. Jesus would have been a Democrat. And there's only one reason I don't believe that would be 100% true. If you put Jesus back on earth right now, and it was left versus right, and it was one or the other, granted, I think Jesus would have been a libertarian, but I'm biased in that. But if you made it to where left or right, one versus the other, the values of Christianity line up more with the values of most Democrats. Feed the poor, feed the sick, care for the sick. Now, their methodology about how they go, their methodology on how they go about doing it is different. And I think that's where the friction would have been.
Honestly, I don't think Jesus would have even been registered to vote.
I don't think he would either. I think Christianity was meant to be so apolitical.
Yeah.
And the right has bastardized it with.
Yeah.
Christianity and spirituality has been bastardized by religion.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's any way you get around that.
I don't disagree with that.
How you look at somebody and say, how you look at a player who has made it to the top of their game in a professional sport, who just gave up somewhere between $200,000 and $300,000 to go play a game, to make a point.
What, there was something else. Was it Sony the release that did or delayed the release of their
yes, PS5.
Yeah,
PS5's been delayed
specifically due to Black Lives Matter.
Mm-hmm. But oh my God, we're not buying Sony now. Like,
I will say they actually they took one. I mean, they took a hit. I mean, to delay a release like that, that's a big deal.
That's a huge deal. And I'm an Xbox person, but that's a huge deal.
I have to at least respect Sony for that.
People are so worried about, oh my God, what are they taking a stand on? Well, all lives matter. Duh.
Yeah.
All lives are not the ones getting shot at in ghettos for looking suspicious. Well, that doesn't happen every day. And at the same token, on the other side, not all cops are bad people.
Yeah. Did you watch that documentary that I sent you a while back about? No. Sorry.
About what?
I can't remember.
Now I'm trying to think of what documentary you sent me.
It was a legal thing. It was about a case where a black kid is arrested for murder, and
Oh yeah.
Did you watch that?
Yes.
Really?
And the one that drug out in the woods and beat him into a confession.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what his name is. I remember.
And they took it to trial. It was
Yes.
ended up being not guilty, and like all of them are still working.
Yes. And,
Yeah, I saw that.
Not only that, it was like a couple months later they said, "Oh yeah, we found the right guy."
This is just like Breonna Taylor.
Yeah.
And I hate to bring everything back to Breonna Taylor, but Breonna Taylor, that entire case is a shit show.
Yeah.
That entire, I don't understand how anybody, and people don't want to talk about Breonna Taylor.
Yeah.
You can argue about George Floyd all day long.
Yeah.
You can argue about Jacob Blake all day long.
But how do you justify Breonna Taylor?
You don't justify Breonna Taylor. Nobody can justify Breonna Taylor to me. And I will wholeheartedly go on any show in this country and rip somebody apart on Breonna Taylor. I don't care if you're a cop, if you're a lawyer. I don't care if you're just a media host. You want to fight and debate and argue about Breonna Taylor, bring it. Because the warrant was bullshit. The information was bullshit. The entire first responders shot and killed another first responder who was defending her home against somebody she thought was breaking in at 3 a.m.
Well, and she wasn't even the one doing the shooting.
She had a gun.
She did.
Yes, she had a gun.
Had it been discharged though?
No.
See,
there was one round fired, and her boyfriend fired it.
I've told you this before. I don't give a crap if you are armed. If you're not,
did you fire?
If you're not brandishing and you're not firing,
well,
you're not
don't
doing
say
anything.
I hate the term brandishing because I know how legal statutes are written with brandishing.
Yeah, I know. But if you're not threatening someone
for a long,
I don't care if you're armed or not. There's no reason to shoot.
Nobody will ever, and this is what kills me. When people walk off of basketball courts and people walk off of Major League Baseball fields and they put a T-shirt on home plate that say Black Lives Matter, they're talking about things like Breonna Taylor.
Yes.
And we said this, in the Delirious episode, but it was still the truth. They're talking about George Floyd. They're talking about Jacob Blake. The difference between George Floyd and Jacob Blake and Breonna Taylor is everybody wants to bring up Floyd's past. Everybody wants to bring up Blake's past. They want to bring up the charges. And I keep saying this over and over and over again. The job of the police is to bring a person to the court system.
Yes.
Alive. Unless it is in self-defense or in self-defense of somebody else under 3 circumstances. The loss of life, the loss of limb, or great bodily injury.
And theoretically, criminal record is not supposed to matter.
Criminal record, as a cop, I was there. I wore that uniform. You are not supposed to take in this person's record during that arrest.
Right.
The only reason that should ever be taken in is if there's a history of violence. To be prepared for more violence.
Right.
There wasn't that history in Breonna Taylor's case. I don't think there's that history in George Floyd's case.
I don't think there is.
Jacob Blake, you can make an argument. Stop looking up and going, well, look what they did, and look what they got accused of. And look at people get accused of bullshit every single day in this country, and I'm telling you right here and now, 9 times out of 10, if they're white, they walk.
Yeah, actually.
You're in law school. Tell me I'm wrong.
You're not.
But what's the opposite effect? What if they're brown or if they're black?
Well,
It's a whole different argument.
Yeah. In that documentary in that documentary that I sent you, they picked him up because he was black.
Oh, and if one more person brings up the OJ case to me, I'm going to throw something at you. Well, OJ walked. Well, no shit, Sherlock. Johnny Cochran, any other questions? Well, if Rodney King had been high PCP, Rodney King got the crap. Like, Rodney King almost died.
Yeah.
But that's justified, right? Because according to the court system, it's justified. When you get pissed off because people are out here looking up and saying Black Lives Matter, they're talking about Breonna Taylor. They're talking about George Floyd. They're talking about Jacob Blake. And I know the right's making all this argument right now of what he was accused of and why it was justified and this and that and this and that. Police are supposed to be blind to justice. Blind. Equal underneath the eyes of the law. And the problem is, in this country, we have doctrine, both written and unwritten, said and unsaid, that is called qualified immunity, that no longer makes it equal under the eyes of the law. And you have people giving up hundreds of thousands of dollars that they're going to make to go out and play a game, to prove a point and make a statement and stand for what they believe in. And all you can do is look and be like, well, they're just trying to get publicity. No, they're using a platform that they have earned the right to use through their hard work and effort over the years and years and years it took them to get to the NBA and get to Major League Baseball and get to the NFL. They're using their platform that they have worked for to make a difference. That you're damn right they're using it for publicity because they already had it to begin with.
It's no different than you shutting down your business because you don't agree with, say, something like a mask mandate. Except, people dying is a little bit more serious than mask mandates.
Not people dying, people getting murdered.
People getting murdered.
People getting murdered. And I've said this before and I will say it again. It should take at least 2 years to be a cop. There was not a day in my life that I ever felt trained enough.
You want to know why O.J. Simpson got off?
Because if the glove doesn't fit, you must have quit.
Because his net worth was $11 million.
You're right. And he was tried in Southern California.
Yeah.
And he was the star running back for the University of Southern California. O.J. is an entirely different case.
Well, he was found not guilty because he had a net worth of $11 million. That's why.
That's why. Reason. Because, and I think it's a Green Day song that says, you can do anything you want as long as you have the money to pay for Cochran.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, guess what? You know what? Never mind.
Yeah.
Kylie, you know why Kylie Jenner is so famous?
Why?
It's amazing to me how much stuff goes back to like Johnny Cochran that people don't know about.
Yeah. It's like Kevin Bacon.
It is.
So many degrees.
Like it's the stuff that goes back and you can trace back to Johnny Cochran will blow your mind. The funny part is OJ didn't actually get off because OJ still owes
the
$250 million, something like that in the civil case.
Was it that much?
Oh yeah. Like the entire reason OJ lives in Florida now is because he can't actually earn any income in any place that has income tax. Like, I'm not kidding. And we all know the funny part is OJ got off.
Yeah.
OJ was as guilty as sin.
He was ordered to pay $33 million.
No, there's more than that. Because I heard it on Rogan. It was more than $33 million. Because he could have made that back in 10 minutes.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Wait.
I want to say it was in the hundreds of millions in the civil case. Like hundreds of millions. So Cochran kept him out of prison, but he couldn't keep him out of poverty.
I'm having trouble finding the number. 33 million is the only number I have.
I'll go find it. It's in it was on Rogan. He still owes them like hundreds of millions of dollars. That family. And I'm trying to even think of her name now. Nicole. Oh my God.
Simpson.
Yeah, but what was her? Brown. You know why OJ got off? Because he had a net worth of $11 million in 1996. Totally different world. Oh. So is it protest or is it publicity? It's both. And they earn the right to the publicity. And I'm damn proud of somebody protesting, especially when you have that much clout. How's that? Well, let's see how many more friends I lose over the fact that Black Lives Matter. Or Breonna Taylor was murdered. George Floyd was murdered. Like, is this really a discussion anymore? Jacob Blake was almost murdered. Well, I just ranted for an hour.
All right. I mean, that's kind of what this show is.
Me ranting for an hour?
Yeah. I get in words sometimes.
Or discrimination cloaked as morality is what? This is going to drive me nuts now.
I'm still looking for how much O.J. Simpson actually owes.
Oh my God. Screw up your tagline and tell people where they can find you.
Vote bold, vote gold, JoJo 2020. Was that?
Where they can find you.
Oh, I'm on the Twitter at the Lucas Cohen. I'm also on Reddit. But Reddit.
Oh my God, don't follow him on Reddit. It's a rabbit hole. Sorry.
It is a rabbit hole.
It really is.
I think I spend more time now on Reddit than I did on Facebook when I was on Facebook.
The first step to admitting you have a problem, or the first step to recovery, is admitting you have a problem.
I like this problem.
You can find me on every social media. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Snapchat. I'm on TikTok. What?
I just realized Reddit is satisfying what Wikipedia used to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so proud of that realization.
Sorry. And he's still the strange one. You can find me on every social media. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, LinkedIn, at Greg J. Ingle, GREGJINGLE. Also, you can find the podcast. Oh, we're on YouTube too. You can also find the podcast on basically every platform there is. We're on Apple, Stitcher, Spotify, Anchor, Overcast, and 19 other ones that I can no longer name, some of which I can't even pronounce. But please like, subscribe, tell your friends, leave a review. That we are only going to be able to go as far as you let us go. With that being said, I'm going to end this way I always end this. My favorite quote from my favorite music festival in the entire world, Tomorrowland, which hopefully will be back in 2021.
You keep saying that.
Hopefully. There's been no announcement yet. Live today, love tomorrow, and unite forever. Till Valhalla, guys.